We're all trying to figure out this world where our kids spend so much time looking at screens.
It's a huge part of their lives now, isn't it?
Absolutely. And with all that screen time comes something else. Companies getting a direct line to advertise to our children.
It's almost unavoidable these days.
The numbers really tell the story. Younger kids, maybe an hour a day, but older kids, say 8 to 12.
Yeah, the data shows around 5.5 hours online
In
daily.
5.5 hours, that's a
Yeah.
lot of opportunity for advertisers. Think about it, back in 2019, the spending on digital ads was already $343 billion.
And it's only gone up since then, dramatically.
Right. So for us parents listening in today, our mission really is to get a handle on the different methods companies are using to reach our kids online.
And importantly, what the potential effects of all this might be.
Exactly. One of the biggest things we see, I think, is this whole phenomenon of child influencers.
Oh, definitely. That's become massive.
You take someone like Ryan's World, he's, what, a kid on YouTube reviewing toys.
Yep, huge following. Millions of kids watch him. He's sort of the poster child for this.
And how does it work? Do companies just send him free toys?
That's a big part of it, yeah. Free products, sometimes direct payments too. The goal is for these influencers to showcase this stuff to their audience.
And by extension, to us parents who might be watching alongside them.
Right, or making the purchasing decisions later.
Okay, but here's where it gets kind of blurry, right? For us and for the kids, these aren't like the Saturday morning cartoon commercials we grew up with.
Not at all. The product placement is often really subtle. It's mixed right into the regular video content.
So it just looks like a kid having fun playing with a toy.
Exactly, and that's the key issue. Younger children, especially, they're still figuring out the world. They don't always understand persuasive intent.
They don't grasp that it's basically an ad, that someone's being paid to show them this.
Precisely. It feels like a genuine recommendation from someone they like, maybe even see as a friend.
Which can cause problems, can't it? Like kids feeling left out or anxious if they don't have the latest toy they saw their favorite YouTuber playing with.
Mm-hmm. That feeling of inadequacy is a real concern. They haven't got that critical filter yet to say, okay, this person is essentially a spokesperson.
Yeah. And then there's the whole other side of it, people raising questions about, the ethics. Are parents potentially exploiting their kids? What's the impact on the influencer kids' well-being?
Those are really valid concerns being discussed more and more. It's a complex area.
And child safety groups are definitely watching this space closely.
They are. They're worried about this kind of influencer marketing, especially when it's not clearly marked as advertising. You see it a lot on TikTok, on YouTube.
So social media is really the main stage for this.
It's a huge channel, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Influencers get compensated, and often the companies have a say, sometimes quite a bit of control over the messaging.
And there's actual research showing that kids really trust these child influencers, right?
There is. Studies show young viewers find them very trustworthy because the content feels so real, so authentic.
Like watching a friend play or talk about their day.
Exactly. They're more easily persuaded to want the products because it doesn't feel like an ad.
Why do you think that trust is so strong?
Well, these influencers often position themselves as peers. They share little bits of their daily lives, their interests. It builds that connection.
Like Ryan's World showing his routine, things like that.
Mm-hmm. It creates that sense of knowing them, of relatability, which makes their recommendations feel more genuine.
And the brands, they can be really subtle about how they get their products in there. It's not always, hey, buy this.
No, often it's not. A product might just be sitting in the background or used casually within the activity. No big announcement that it's sponsored content.
That makes it incredibly hard, even for us parents, to tell what's just part of the video and what's actually a paid promotion.
It really does blur the lines.
Wasn't there even a formal complaint filed about Ryan's World because of this?
Yes, that's right. A complaint alleging they were deceiving kids. The claim was that sponsored videos were made to look almost exactly like his regular non-sponsored content.
Making it basically impossible for kids, and maybe even parents, to spot the difference.
That was the argument. And it's important for parents to know, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC.
Right, the government agency that handles advertising rules.
Yeah, they have rules that say ads must be clear and obvious. The idea is that consumers need to know it's an ad to make an informed choice.
So this kind of hidden advertising, especially aimed at kids who don't understand it, it goes against that principle.
It certainly raises questions about whether it meets that clear and obvious standard for this particular audience.
But it's not just influencers, is it? Advertisers are finding other ways in. What about mobile games? Kids spend a ton of time playing games on phones and
Oh,
tablets.
absolutely. Mobile games are another huge frontier. They use something called gamified advertising.
Gamified advertising. How does that work?
Well, it essentially mixes advertising into the gameplay. It incentivizes kids to watch an ad or maybe make an in-app purchase.
By offering them something in return, like game money or help getting to the next level.
Exactly. Rewards like virtual currency, power-ups, unlocking content, watch this ad, get some gems, that kind of thing.
And I guess kids are particularly susceptible to that.
Developmentally, yes. Children tend to be more impulsive. Their attention spans can be shorter.
So they're more likely to just click on a flashy ad that pops up, and maybe less patient about waiting for a tiny X button to appear.
That's the concern. They see the immediate reward offered by the game. Watch this video for extra lives. And it's very compelling. More so than for adults, perhaps.
That makes sense. And there's another angle too, isn't there, about free apps?
Yes, that's an important point. Free apps, which are often the ones more readily available to kids, perhaps from lower income families who might not be paying for premium versions.
They tend to have more ads.
Often, yes. And sometimes more disruptive ads, because that's the main way the app generates revenue.
So that raises concerns about fairness, about whether some kids are getting exposed to way more of this kind of advertising pressure just based on the apps they can access.
It does bring up questions about equity and disproportionate exposure.
Okay, so pulling this all together, the big picture for us parents seems to be that how our kids consume media now is just completely tangled up with advertising.
Right. And the advertising itself is often designed to be almost invisible, or at least not obvious, especially to a child's mind.
It feels potentially unfair given they're still developing that critical thinking about persuasion. The lines between what's content and what's a commercial are just so blurred.
Extremely blurred. It's a fundamental shift from the advertising landscape most of us grew up with.
So if you're listening today, the main takeaway from our deep dive is probably this. The online world where our kids are spending time, it's full of advertising aimed at them, and it's complex, often deliberately subtle.
It's not straightforward anymore. It requires a different kind of awareness.
Which leads us to a final thought, something for all of us parents to mull over. Given how immersive this online content is, and how hard it genuinely is for kids to tell what's an ad and what's not, what new strategies, what new conversations might we need to have with our children to help them navigate this? How do we help them build that critical lens?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? How do we equip them for this environment?
Something to think about. We'll leave it there for this deep dive.